What's up, guys? Welcome back to Joe Rod Trades. We're going to do something new today. Instead of a morning overview, I want to go over my pullback report. And so I'm going to give you some pullbacks that I'm looking at and potential pullbacks for the next couple days. We're going to start with MYNZ, and this is a biomed company. Here we have a sort of a reversal complex here at the bottom of this Kellner channel. And then you can see we pushed back up to the top here. So we're looking at the top level. So right here on the daily. So if I move my cursor here on the daily, you can see all the price action is consolidating around that momentum move on the weekly. And we just broke out of it. So I can see potential for more upside. Or if you like, you can be more patient, wait for another pullback. Pearson, I think most of us in the US know Pearson because our books are from Houston or from Pearson. So we had a pullback to the downside here. And then these I like these. They act as sort of a rubber band. This is bearish in a bullish uptrend. And usually that gets phased out, and you could see the power of it with these two moves here. It's not a very big moving stock on the daily. You can see how small a lot of these bars are. There is potential for upside here, and the weekly is in a uptrend as well. And then momentum is in our favor. Momentum's in our favor, pointing upwards here, the fast momentum, and we're above zero on a slower momentum. So do like this one for a long. Checkpoint software. So software industry has been pretty hot. When I look at charts, I haven't really looked at the sector analysis, but overall charts have been all bullish. Very few have been bearish. So, and usually those are like the big guys. And I haven't traded Apple currently. That isn't looking so good, but it's to the downside. So here we have a bunch of upward momentum, hit the top of the Kellner channel after earnings, and then we pulled back and rested in this general area. You can see that this momentum started 2 weeks back in January, early January, and we had this consolidation here, and then we broke out. The momentum started right around here, and then we broke out to the top here. So right here was a nice little consolidation point that you could have gotten in long, but nonetheless, the point is that we're looking up now, and so looking for longs, and this is probably a good spot to at least get to the next pivot. I would look for momentum to continue over this pivot. Hilton, this one I really like today. So you can see they had earnings a few days ago on the 6th, and then price pushed up again. Didn't really get past here. It had just a failure there. And then we had downward momentum, and what I've talked about before, downward momentum in an uptrend. This is a slingshot. Look at this right here. Downward momentum followed by upward momentum and break above this bar, and you can see just slingshot effects. That was good, $30 or something, $30. So I'm looking for similar action here. We may not post a green or a bullish momentum here on this bar or this next bar today, but I'm really looking for an entry above this bar and to get higher. So I really like Hilton today. AstraZeneca, talked about health stocks kind of pulling up, and I think I got into one a little bit early, but I'm looking to re-enter that possibly. So here's what we have. A lot of them were coming off their lows on the weeklies. You can see here we had this downward momentum that just got taken out very slowly, not very aggressively. So I think that's my only concern about this weekly reversal complex. We're here at the top of the Kellner channel on the daily, and you can see we have some momentum. And again, you can see how this downward momentum in an uptrend acts as a slingshot. So it just kind of sends us up. And we have this consolidation here, and these bars are a little big, so we might wait for a larger pullback, especially considering what's going on here. So this is a little bit of a weaker one, a little bit more question marks here. Momentum is going in our favor on the weekly. We do have a retracement back to the momentum indicator here, not necessarily an anti-pullback or an anti-pattern, but there is momentum towards the upside. The next one I have is Tapestry TP, and they gapped up on earnings as well, had some strength down to the downside, and then here is that little slingshot activator here. So getting in above this bar, I really like that play. And we had an extended run above the Kellner channel, and then this last bar, so possibly climactic, but given the nature of earnings, there might be some earnings drift involved where we can get some more to the upside. Momentum's in our favor in the weekly and in the daily, so no worries there. Twilio has, again, just another software stock that just gapped up and has shown some strength. I worry a little bit that the stock is a bit overextended. This could potentially be climactic activity. It's been broke out from this long consolidation, and it's been trending since early November, late October. And then what we had here was this gap up, no real follow through after this gap up, and some of this strong momentum here we rolled over a little bit. But there is a very tight flag here at the top, and then we have upward momentum above zero, and the fast momentum's kind of going down, maybe a first cross zero line buy. So there is potential here, but again, this one's still a little iffy. Yesterday, I talked about my one good trade, how I liked Baker Hughes, BKR. Financials have been pretty hot, so I'm just gonna try to keep riding this one out. We'll see how the next 2 days play out on this one. Let's go to this one. So I talked about Victoria's Secret and consumer goods, I don't know, a few videos ago. Consumer goods are looking pretty weak. I also talked about how there was downward pressure on this support, and it was just consolidating over that, which is a classic way of support failing. And usually we can get a big move to the downside when this happens. So we go to the weekly, we can see we have this consolidation on a very strong momentum bar here. I think if we get below this bar, which is also the low of this bar, we could see continuation, especially if we get there before the end of this week and we hold there. So it might be wise to get into your shorts now if that's a short that interests you to the downside. Momentum's facing to the downside. We have momentum, the slow momentum under zero, and the fast one's curving up, but that moves fast, so we might get a hook back down. Let's see. Silver is looking really good as far as long entry for macros. And I talked about this back in November 3rd, I believe, and I talked about gold really and the macros behind it, and that it was going to move up. And gold and silver move pretty well together, considering that they're both minerals and metals, precious metals. And yeah, so we have touched the color band here, pullback, but you can see on the weekly we're still in this little trend here. So it's a little bit of riskier play. Momentum's in our favor on the weekly, and on the daily, the slow is above zero. So I do like that. Fast is pointing down, so not as strong as you'd like, but I think we can be patient and wait for a bigger pullback on silver. IBZ, I saw this one back on the 5th, and I called it out on one good trade. And I think there's another entry spot right here, right above this bar to get long. So if you want to be curious about that, go back to the other video. EO, this one has been just kind of consolidating. We have this gap up, and we kind of took out downward momentum and brought it to the upside. Maybe this is sort of the retest to it. I really like this trade because I think you can consolidate your stop like just below some of these momentum bars. You can see how well they held up. And then we have this classic downward momentum in an uptrend. So I think this one's ready to take off, and I would look for that to the upside. That is, let me go over Apple really quick. Oh, this one was nice. So I called this back on the 7th. I put this in, I didn't write a video or do a video. I did a write-up on this one. It just was so beautiful. This is another classic downward momentum. You can see the red there. Downward momentum in an uptrend. So this is optimal. I got out yesterday with really nice prana on some options. So good there. Water stocks, they're actually finally coming to life here. We talked about this potential turnaround back on 3rd, and you can see we're kind of consolidating over here. So I would look for price to break out to the upside of this. I have an upside bias on this. Slow moving average is above the signal line above the zero. So strong bullish momentum pointing to the upside on the fast, pointing to the upside on the weekly. So this has a lot of momentum potential. You can see all of the green momentum and very little red, and the red's kind of just gotten taken out. We've made higher high, lower high, and higher low, and then a lower high, and then I think this one we're gonna get kind of a complex back to pull side of this. So I'd really like this one as well. Apple has told me, I did a write-up on this along with Ferrari. Actually, I did not. I'm looking for downside momentum on Apple here. That's because there's an anti-pattern set up in the weekly. So we had the strong pull down. We had this retracement back to the top, about the 50% area. Haven't really made it above there since, and the sellers just keep coming in. You can see these wicks showing us that sellers just keep coming in. So I'm looking for this to make a lower low down to right about this area to make a second leg, and that would look something like potentially get down to 205-ish. So I might take profits way before that. That's all I have for today. This is a long pullback report. I hope you guys enjoyed this a little bit better than the morning overviews, kind of going over what I'm seeing in each stock and how I feel about them. So good luck.